Greetings, this is a man who pretends to be Charles Darwin, and I'm speaking to you from Strasbourg in France, and one of the most famous people from Strasbourg that most of you who are watching this video may never have heard of, and that is Albert Schweitzer. Here's a statue. He was famous in the middle of the 20th century. His statue, he lived for a long time here in Strasbourg. He was most famous for doing what almost nobody can do anymore. He was what they called a polymath, that is, a genius expert in what seems like totally unrelated fields. And in his case, these fields were music. He was an organ expert, and he was even an expert on the construction of organs, not just playing organs. He was also an expert in philosophy. He was an expert in theology. He wrote about the historical Jesus and the mysticism of the Apostle Paul. And he was also an expert in medicine. Now, unlike most people whose minds can embrace lots of different fields, among the people who come to mind first are Stephen Jay Gould, René Dubos, the microbiologist turned philosopher, and Isaac Asimov, and even John Polkinghorne, who was both physics and theology. This man, Albert Schweitzer, actually had degrees in all of these fields. He had a degree in music, a degree in philosophy, a degree in theology, and a degree in medicine as well. And so he was not just a person who understood a lot of different things, but he was able to also speak on them with some authority. Now, he felt called to start a hospital in what is now Gabon in Africa. Now, this hospital turned out to not be the world's best hospital. It did not meet medical standards, but within the first 9 months in which his hospital was in operation, he had 2,000 patients. Some of them traveled days and hundreds of kilometers to go to his clinic. Now, you might say, well, could somebody else have done a better job? Well, there wasn't anybody else. He was the only one. And so he did this very important job. He got the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, in 1952. Not only because of the many fields of his work, but also because of his anti-colonial stand and his anti-nuclear stand as well. Now, was there anything that tied all of these fields of interest together? Not just that he was interested in them individually, but one could describe, and of course it would take a long time to describe it in detail, but one could describe the idea that tied all of this together as a reverence for life. The aspects of music, philosophy, theology, and medicine that made life better for humanity, which he loved. This is a man who pretends to be Charles Darwin, and speaking to you from the statue of one of the most famous people from Strasbourg, and that is Albert Schweitzer.